So welcome everyone, Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us for our first virtual roundtable of 2023. I'm Lindsay Birch, Director of Marketing and Client Engagement at the Edison Awards. We also have Jean Bradley, Director of Operations on the call. So Jean is the reason that we're able to offer these free virtual sessions because she's the only one on our team with the technical ability to ensure that we can hear one another, that we can see what's being presented, invites are sent out and responded to, and so much more behind the scenes. So big thank you to Jean for making this possible. As a member of the Edison Awards universe, you're going to see various invitations to roundtables, insights from info pieces, and a number of other exclusive opportunities come to your inbox throughout the year. If at any point there are topics that you'd like to see covered, or if you have processes, tips, articles that you'd like to share with the Edison Award universe, feel free to send them my way. This network was designed to encourage collaboration and continue learning, so we're here to help one another be successful. On that note, we have an exceptional panel of experts that we've brought together to talk about employee retention. It's no secret that almost every business across the globe is struggling to find qualified employees. And once they find them, how do they keep them happy and engaged in that role? So we're honored to have Melissa Severance, Matt Swanson, and Karen Shepard on the call today to share some insight on what has been working for their organizations. The goal is for everyone to walk away with at least one thing that you can implement into your HR strategy to help you attract and retain top talent. The chat will be open for questions, so feel free to submit any questions or comments there. And now I'd like to introduce Melissa Severance. Melissa is an executive, leadership and team coach, corporate trainer, strategic human resource consultant, and the founder of Inspire Big Dreams Coaching LLC. Melissa's been an innovative HR leader for over 15 years and utilizes its expertise to help professionals advance or pivot their careers, shift their mindset, develop and implement strategy, build stronger networking and employee relationships, and increase their leadership abilities both personally and professionally. As an ICF professional certified coach, she coaches executives, entrepreneurs, emerging leaders, and companies to inspire, motivate, spark action, transform, and achieve their goals and big dreams. So with that, I'd like to pass the mic over to Melissa, your facilitator. Thank you for being with us, and the Zoom is yours.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I'm so excited to talk about such an important topic that I know that's one of the reasons why we have so many people on the call today, because retaining our talent is so important now more than ever. And I'm really excited about having both Matt and Karen on my side, answering and giving such great knowledge on this topic. I'd love for each of you to kind of introduce yourself to everyone on the call today and a little bit about your background. I know Lindsay's going to be sending out our full bios after the call, but I'd love to have them have some knowledge about what you've seen so far in your career and what you're going to be bringing to the table today. So Matt, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here and to meet so many people virtually. Serve as the Senior Vice President of Administration for Enterprise Florida, which is Florida's economic development and commerce agency. We're responsible for working with businesses that are in Florida to help them grow and also attract new businesses into the state. And also we have our international program that works with exports and connecting Florida businesses to trade opportunities with other countries. So we're located all across the state with our three main offices in Tallahassee, Orlando, and Miami. And so with HR being one of my areas of responsibility, we're managing teams that are frequently traveling internationally throughout the country and then multiple office locations. My background is primarily in resource management, which includes, of course, our people, our most important assets, but also finance, IT, and general operations. And so at Enterprise Florida, as we're looking to improve the employee experience, it's helpful because I have all of our resources under our umbrella to make some of these changes rapidly and to respond to trends that we're seeing from employees. Prior to being at EFI, I served as a Vice President of Finance and Business for Jacksonville University, then was in Louisiana working for the community college system, and have a doctorate in business administration and human resources. So I've taught a few classes as an adjunct professor, and I've spent quite a bit of time either in small businesses and higher ed.
Great. Karen.
Yes, Matt, you sound awesome. I can't wait to hear your feedback too.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Karen Shepard, and I am owner of HR by Karen. I'm also, and how I know Melissa is we are very active with HR Collier, the local human resources in Collier County. HR by Karen offers several HR solutions that we tailor based on a company's strategic goal and objectives. And what I like to refer to is keeping companies in compliance and out of trouble. So we create handbooks, recruitment opportunities, leadership training, high energy presentations on how to be the best leader and be the best version of you. One of my favorite things to do is help our future workforce. I help them with mock interviews and resume reviews, and it's very inspirational to be able to have these young minds, be wanting to learn how to be a better employee for all of you here. I'm originally from Ohio. Yes, I'm a Browns fan, but this week I'm a Bengals fan. So I don't know if you all are football lovers out there, but I'm also have my master's degree in human resource management and organizational development, and happy to help your business with any HR resource and solutions.
Perfect.
And
Thanks.
answer questions today.
Thanks, Karen.
Sure.
Well, I'm really excited about Matt and Karen bringing such great knowledge to the table today. So, we're going to start off really with trying to pinpoint, and make sure we all know on the call the reason why employee retention matters. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any comments or questions, please make sure to put them in the chat. I know Lindsay and her team are going to let us know when we have anything that we can address. And you're going to hear Matt and Karen throughout the conversation, chime in on the topics that they have some really great knowledge and expertise in. So we already had a couple questions come in before the call. We're going to make sure we address those as well, and make sure we have this as fruitful as possible. And if anything we don't get covered, I figure out a solution with Lindsay afterwards, see how we can get some good information out to you to really address your pain points that you're having with employee retention. So, I really do think that everybody on this call knows that employee retention is something we have to focus on. And one of the reasons is because of this quote: if you don't create a great, rewarding place for people to work, they won't do great work. And we need to make sure that we have a place where everybody wants to be and they want to stay as long as they can in their career. I stayed at a firm for 16 years, but, many places don't have people staying, let alone 1, 2, or 5 years. We have to make sure we kind of move that needle, and employee retention, it's definitely the way to do it. And the reason why it's so important, the last few years has come with a lot of challenges: the great resignation, the big quit, the great reshuffle, whatever you want to call it. And I think right now we're going through what we're calling the quiet quitting. Everybody kind of really just looking for growth and development of themselves and going outside their firm to get it. So we need to figure out how to keep hold of our employees, grow them, and bring them to the next level. So I definitely have a lot of strategies that we're going to go through today that's really going to, really help us see what we're maybe not doing and what we need to incorporate or change or enhance today. So Karen, I know this is kind of a big thing that you do as well on the HR side. Do you have any comments before we kind of move on? Oh, Karen is muted. Lindsay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Matt, let's make sure you're not, I'm sorry, this keeps going back and forth on me, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's good. So I know that this kind of goes with one of the questions Lindsay received: what resource other than relationship network is the best to obtain talent from? So this kind of starts, to me, right here. It's the landmines of neglectful hiring, right?
Yeah.
So it starts with hiring and your hiring practices. with retention. And if an employee doesn't feel valued, understood, a sense of belonging, they're going to peace out on you. They just are. So you could have the best talent. It is, I love, Matt, that you said employee experience, because that's what I always say.
Mhm.
When I recruit for clients, I can recruit them the best talent, but it's their job to have the best employee experience from there. We can only go so far, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we have people leave, we have the turnover expenses that happen. We're losing all this knowledge. We also have our productivity really reduced, especially if we have open roles for such a long period of time, and it causes overwork for others in your organization. And then just morale is down. So we need to really make sure that we keep people in place, hire the right talent, keep the talent, and retention is something that we all have to make sure that we're doing and focusing on. And one of the reasons, or one of the ways that we can do that at first, is realizing why our employees are leaving. There's so many reasons, and it's very customized to each company. And that's why, when exit interviews come into play, they're very important. Talking to your employees, realizing the ones that have stayed really long, why they're staying. And I love to hear, in the chat, reasons why that people have been leaving your firm. There's reasons galore. It could be that they're feeling overworked. It could be that they're not feeling they're getting that advancement they're looking for. They could be bored at their jobs. They don't have the salary or benefits that's really attractive to them anymore. Maybe the stress is getting to them. More compelling jobs other places. There's no advancement happening. They're unhappy with management. There's so many reasons that are out there, and we need to really figure out what's happening at our company and what we can address. And that way we can have more robust retention initiatives that kind of address those. One of the questions that came into us before we started was, have we ever addressed something that came out of an exit interview and enhanced that to help with retention efforts? Karen or Matt, do either of you have a situation that happened like that with one of your clients or with the current company you're with?
Sure, I'll jump in.
Yeah.
When we at Enterprise Florida, we require exit interviews whenever someone is going to resign, like many organizations, and HR reviews them. They get passed on to me. And two things that have come up in our interviews that have resulted in things that we're working on now but haven't implemented. One is improvements to our health insurance benefits. We had a trend where a few employees left and they cited health insurance. And so we did a deep dive into what was going on there, working with our broker, and have some great things coming down the pipeline to improve our benefits package during our next enrollment period. And then the other was on their lack of, I guess the best way to put it is that they felt like they were getting bored, and that was one of the reasons that was brought up for employees leaving. And we found that it had to do with internal operations and wanting to do more to work on the business rather than just in the business. And so we've also started inviting employees to participate more in, I call them Operation Modernization Committee work groups, and they're assigned projects. And you think about what the tech industry does with the hackathons. We're holding something like that, our version of a hackathon, where we present a problem, ask employees to work in teams and come up with a solution and help us implement. And we've seen that help with employee engagement and innovation. And that really was inspired by some comments of employees essentially feeling like they were bored.
Yeah. Great points. Karen, is there anything that you want to add to that?
So the one thing that is with the, I love hearing that you took the exit survey and that you actually listened, because a lot of times what happens is we do the surveys, we do the exit interviews, and we take no action on them. So to me, that is the most important thing that I will piggyback on what Matt said, is taking action. And that goes back with why employees leave, is because they're not feeling heard. So that's great.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, we're more of a startup, so we haven't had anyone, leave for any reason. And obviously we'd like to avoid that in the future. So we do want to try to, make sure that our culture and, what we do starts from the very beginning. And then it's all, positive and that we listen. I just wondered about how important and how well do the work if you send employee surveys around? I mean, does anyone do that?
Yeah, they do. I know Karen probably has a lot of knowledge in this area as well too. But they do it. The best way is if it's anonymous, because we want people to really be truthful. I think if you have a smaller company and you're able to do that, having conversations, I kind of talk about having stay interviews with our employees, why they love working at the firm, what they want to be doing more of, what do they really see themselves doing in the future? How can I help their professional growth? Learning more about them, I think, is very helpful for all managers and leadership to do, to try to, understand why people are at their firm and how they can help them stay longer with them. Karen, have you been executing some employee engagement surveys recently with your clients?
I am not a survey girl. Kathy, is that who you are, Kathy?
Yeah.
I am not a survey girl, and it's surveys, even though they're anonymous, people sometimes don't feel like they really are anonymous. So it's really hard to get the truth. The best way to get a great culture is to be intentional and really peel back and know the story. And what I learned, a word yesterday, is work-life balance. It's not a balance, it's integration. So when you do that, when you integrate, find out what the employee loves to do after work, right? And then maybe there's a way to retain them that way and accommodate those needs as well. It's surveys, having open conversations and being human. Human comes before the resource, right? You just got to be human, transparent, open, and honest.
Yeah, Sin is my other coworker here. And last year, as part of my strategic goals, was to develop a wellness program for our employees. We didn't know what that meant. I just knew that I felt physical and mental, I guess wellness was super important. And we have a variety of ages too. And like you said, life-work balance, it's different life situations. Some people have children, some don't, some are in a relationship, some aren't, like what do they like to do? So one of the things that I budgeted for was basically like a monthly team morale get together, just like fun type thing. This one happens to be coinciding with a birthday, but that people got really excited when we sent an invitation out to just all meet at, Pop Stroke and just have a couple hours after work. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do going forward.
Yeah. No, I think you have to try a lot of things, right? And you have to listen to your employees and see what they really want. I think that's sometimes what we don't do. We don't listen. We need to, really tune in to what would be helpful for them and what their pain points are with working at the firm, and what they already enjoy, and maybe enhance on that as well too. We're going to be talking about wellness as well too. I know Karen just went to a great conference that hit a lot of points there yesterday. We were just talking about it earlier. Definitely wellness is one of the initiatives that people are really pushing in 2023 to really combat the challenges our employees are going through and to help with employee retention efforts. So let's start getting into, thanks for your question. And I know there's some chats as well too, Lindsay. Is there any that we should address right now, or do you think we should move on?
For sake of time, let's move on and we'll address those at the end.
Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. So what we're going to be talking about is the strategies. We already mentioned some during our dialogue so far, all the strategies to really take this to the next level, to make sure we're focusing on areas that our employees really need to stay at our firm and really be more active and engaged at work and be happy. So of course, the big thing that's really out there right now, more than any other initiative on the retention side, is being flexible, and really trying to find, I call it the work-life harmony, because balance is really tough nowadays. Trying to see how it fits in to really make sure that you're there for your work and also your personal life. So asking questions about how you're really dealing with time management within your firm. Are you allowing them that flexibility to really address their personal life as well too, as much as you possibly can? I know in a lot of cases, sometimes people are working overload because of the lack of staff. Are we really encouraging our people to take that vacation time they need, or to leave early to be part of an activity for their kids or for something that's important to them on their personal side of their life? And then we do have people working from home. The last couple of years have really allowed us to do that. And statistics are saying that 50% of the people that are working from home now want to stay there, and they wouldn't want to go back to the office. And if they are forced to, they would probably look for another job. But there's a lot of companies out there that you have to be in every day. So you have to figure out other ways to be flexible with them during that. Maybe compressed work weeks, maybe having certain times that they can leave for these personal items that, that are important to them, I guess, more than anything. So flexibility is definitely a big part. Matt or Karen, anything you want to talk about with the flexibility that you're seeing that's happening in the workforce right now?
Sure. I agree with Karen's comments, what she mentioned about work-life balance, and the comments earlier about wellness. And I think it's incredibly important to focus on employee wellness. It sounds cliche, but it's true that if your employees aren't well, your organization will never be well, and you're not going to go anywhere fast. And so at previous organizations and at Enterprise Florida, we think about the wellness wheel, that it's not just physical health, but you have mental health, you have financial wellness, you have relational wellness, and different opportunities we have for either putting on a lunch and learn, or having a partner come in and talk to the group about different wellness strategies. And that includes having our banking partners come in and talk about financial wellness. And I've seen an impact. I can't say, what happens in everyone's personal life, but I know employees have appreciated the feedback and opportunities to meet with different experts. On the flexibility at Enterprise Florida, I can't say it's an umbrella situation, because we have some positions that don't fall into this, but we're really focusing more on results rather than presence, and getting away from the traditional 9 to 5, everyone has to be at their desks or doing something, because the demands of our personal lives have changed, especially since COVID. Life outside of work is more important than work, and we're trying to drive that home with our employees. And then we have businesses that we're serving that don't necessarily, their needs don't fit within the traditional 8 to 5. And so we found that employees were working extra hours to respond to requests to support businesses, to help others come into the country. And then we also have different cultures in our various office locations that have different needs. And so what we've done is we've empowered each leader of our main offices to make decisions on flexible work schedules, and have rewritten our HR policies to allow flex time based off of the division, the nature of the work, different work schedules, which could include a compressed week, doing more to allow employees to work from home. And that includes not just giving them a laptop and the equipment they need, but improving our employee engagement remotely, and actually doing things like virtual happy hours or virtual get-togethers, team meetings, making sure our conference rooms are equipped to be able to engage with people who are in person and also remote. So those are all things that we're doing to help with work-life balance, but really just trying to drive home that you don't necessarily have to fit within a traditional work schedule to achieve the results and the goals that we have as an organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot within my coaching to different leaders and to managers is, being able to set those boundaries up so you can still do your personal life and, communicate those boundaries effectively to everybody you're working with, so you can have both. And I think you really messaged a lot of things that, we need to consider that we can do for our company that we're working for our clients. And I know, Karen, you have been implementing some updates into handbooks around this as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that, especially because I work primarily with small businesses, is discretionary time off. So that's exactly what Matt was talking about. Yes, there's procedures and there's guidelines and parameters that go along with it. Everyone can't be off at the same time, but you're also not micromanaging your employees. You're allowing them to be adults. And if their work is done, then, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, then it's okay to be more flexible with them.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes into talking about the whole culture. Some of these things go into how your culture is at your firm, and really messaging that, making sure you're living up to your values, your mission statement that you have out there. Candidates and employees are seeking to work somewhere that has purpose and has goals, and know that they're working together to make an impact, and really communicating that. So all of us should be thinking through, is our culture really coming out the way we would like it to, and how can we enhance that? More than ever, people want to be involved. People want to, have purpose, and we can help that. So definitely the company culture that you have right now and you're developing is really important. So we need to make sure that they know the culture, they know our purpose, they know the goals, and our leadership are living up to that more than ever. Then that goes into having employee engagement. We talked a lot about that so far. And part of that is really listening to our employees, empowering them, letting them make decisions, and letting them give feedback, be part of the decision-making process, having fun at work. All of these things are really important, to make sure that our employees want to come to work each day. They're not dreading Monday morning. They want to come in, they want to give value, and they know they're have purpose and they're doing great things each and every day. And the leaders are important in this process. They're the ones helping them to show that what they're doing, what they're giving to the company is really impactful, has purpose, and they're going to the overall vision and helping with the culture of the firm. So definitely something that we need to make sure that we're doing enough of is really having that culture shine through and making sure that we're really engaging our employees in the right way so they're happy at work. And this is important more than ever, is making sure that we have the right employees come inside our firm. We need to make sure that we're hiring the right people that would flourish in our culture. Hiring strategically, really making sure that we are doing our due diligence in the recruiting process, making sure that we're asking the right questions, we're really digging into their background and knowing that they're going to really thrive coming into our organization. And I know Karen does a lot with hiring throughout Southwest Florida. Do you want to talk a little bit about this and what you've been talking about with your clients on this front?
Going back to the talent question that Lindsay received, assessments is really a big deal. I do assessments not just for personality to see where they're going to fit and make sure they're a good culture fit, but also provide assessments. How's their customer service? What's their work ethic? If they are working remote, what are the gaps that I need to help them with to be successful? That is what these assessments accomplish. How is their leadership? If it is a cognitive assessment, I have as well, depending on the role. So I am really big into assessments, and they help me provide, doing exactly what you said, Melissa, ask the right questions.
Perfect. Yeah, I know hiring is a pain point as well too, but once we get that right, the retention is so much easier because we have the right people on our team. And then that leads into having our onboarding be as robust as possible. the first 90 days of employment is critical. And getting through that successfully really helps us keep our employees long-term. So we have to have a really great orientation process. And it's not just how they do their job, it's learning about the firm, learning about the way we do things. We need to have that really robust and really get to meet the team and know what the company's doing. And that's why mentorship is so important to include in this area. Having them have connections to other people in their department and outside their department is going to help them really come in and be a strong contributor right away to the firm. And when I was in the recruiting arena in my old HR positions, we even started our onboarding practices as soon as the offer was accepted. Making sure they know about our firm, they feel connected, giving them that kind of buddy or mentor relationship at that point, and keeping it until they started with us and, had their first official day with us. So onboarding is really an important, added thing within retention that we really need to focus on and really bring it to the next level. And Matt, I didn't know if you had anything in this area on the retention or onboarding or mentorship that your companies do for your firm.
Sure. The mentorship idea is great. I've seen it work very well at a couple of organizations that I've worked in. And unfortunately, the ones where it's worked well, it hasn't necessarily been a widespread practice across the entire business. It's been departments who really assign mentors on their own accord. And it's something that I'd like to see implemented at Enterprise Florida and other organizations that I work with on a widespread basis, just because I've seen the success localized. So that's a great suggestion. And part of our onboarding process, and actually what we're doing right now at Enterprise Florida, is recreating our onboarding process, because it's been the same year after year after year. And the employees that we're recruiting, the needs and how we need to get new employees up to speed and integrated into our culture, that changes. And so we're creating a system of, you could call it continuous process improvement for our onboarding, that it's not just a one and done, let it sit, and then we'll revisit it 10 years from now. It's a regular evaluation of the first 90-day program and how we need to adapt it, not just organization wide, but to individual types of positions, groups of positions, the people that they need to connect with, the mentors that they need, how we integrate them into the culture and make them feel welcome and connected to people who might not even be directly in the office that they're assigned. And then going back to the remote engagement for our remote employees, there's a piece of onboarding that I've found is lost with remote employees when they're not in the office initially, especially getting them integrated into the culture. And so as we've been looking at becoming more flexible with remote work, we're also looking at our onboarding policies to require a certain amount of time in the office initially during that first 90 days, so that they can get to know people who are rotating in and out.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we have to continue to reevaluate and make our onboarding as compelling as possible. My previous firm, we had a 3-day event in an amazing location where we did orientation. Now, this was pre-COVID, unfortunately, that had to stop, but they tried to do it as much as they could virtually to make it compelling, to have certain speakers on that maybe they didn't have during the in-person event, that were able to do it virtually. So thinking outside the box here, sometimes you have to, if it's a hybrid orientation process, and try to maybe bring this back to be live, because I think the first initial connections that happen to from an employee to a firm is the most important. So trying to think, how can you enhance what you're doing now, even if it has to be remote? Karen, anything to add on this topic? I know you're big on onboarding like me.
No, I mean, you guys hit all the high points. As soon as you said it starts before they show up that first day. I mean, really just communication is key. That's it. Communicate. What questions do you have all the time? Never not be too busy for a new employee. Always be present for them, for anyone, but especially the new
employees. Yes, very critical time. And then it goes into, the new employees, when they come in, they're looking to their leaders, and we need to really develop strong leaders within the firm. I've been, pulsed to get a lot of leadership development programs created this year, and also do a lot of coaching. So both of them are good to help develop our leaders. We need to make sure that we are doing whatever we can to make sure they lead and really exhibit our culture that we want within the firm. So the last couple of years, it's been really tough to really probably institute a lot of trainings for our leaders, or getting them all together to make sure they're on the same page. So now is the time to really do that. And if we have strong leaders, we will have people stay. Most people leave their management, not the company. So we need to make sure those leaders are strong and really showing up the way we want them to. So definitely something that we should consider when looking at your overall retention strategy, is developing your leaders a key component there. And then also, really putting that teamwork out there, making sure people are collaborating, innovating, transforming together, having employees give their feedback, be part of the decision-making process, empowering them to work with other departments, not be siloed. All of that makes people feel more vested in their work and build stronger relationships throughout the firm. And when we have relationships really strong, collaboration is so much easier. So we really need to make sure both of those areas are really enhanced as much as possible. I've been seeing a lot of companies do team coaching to really ensure the team is working as efficient as possible, and seeing what the pain points are with communication. Sometimes when we're remote on team meetings, we just sometimes can't see everything that's going on. There could be some people that are really quiet. There could be some people that don't really chime in, even when they're, the person that should be chiming in. And that's important. So to really see the whole team dynamics and see what's really, happening there, and how it can be enhanced, and how it can go to get better results for the team. And this is very important to me. I've been seeing so many people be burned out over the last couple of years, and you would think that burnout is actually going down now, that a lot of the big, areas that caused it, the COVID and different things along those areas, has subsided a little bit, but, the shortage in staff is still there. And there's just so many people that have been overworked for the last couple of years, and that chronic stress has caused employee burnout. And we really need to address that. And you need to notice when our employees are really asking or needing help, because sometimes they're not giving help or getting help themselves. I know Karen has a kind of a powerful story about a conference that she went to yesterday that talked about burnout. Karen, do you want to share that, or anything else from the conference that would really be helpful in this area?
Are you talking about when the employee cleaned out her desk on Friday?
Yeah, if you want to share that or anything else from the conference. I know that a lot of it was about mental health and burnout within the workplace, if you feel that's comfortable to share.
Yeah. Wellness is, you can't say health anymore without having wellness in there. An employee, a client of mine, her assistant cleaned out her desk on a Friday. They called me and said, what should I do? And I said, well, on Monday, the first thing you need to lead with is compassion, empathy, and heart. You just have to, but also be prepared with a termination letter, a resignation letter, and a PIP. Like, why did she clean out her desk without communication? And she communicated all right. When she came in on Monday, she shared with my client that she cleaned out her desk because she didn't know if she was going to kill herself that weekend. And she didn't want them to have to worry about that.
Wow.
You never know what someone's story is. And you always have to really lead with compassion, empathy, and heart. Get to know it is okay. Have that safe environment that you were, I forget, someone in the chat said, create a safe environment. I love that, because that is critical. When you have a safe environment and you create that, then that employee felt comfortable to share that And when they reach out to help, you have to help. I mean, eventually they may have to get terminated, right?
Yeah.
And it's a heart crunching situation when that happens, because the industry may not be healthy for them. They may not be able to show up and do their jobs. However, in the meantime, you have to create a compassionate plan of accommodation, and hopefully together you will come out the other side. But it's a thing out there, and everyone needs to be aware for sure.
Yeah, definitely have to, really look at our employees and see if any of them have extreme burnout going on and how we can address and help their stress levels. And a lot of companies are putting in programs to help with stress relief and different things along those lines. And it also goes into kind of the next topic, really bringing them wellness offerings to the table, because they're needed now more than ever. Especially on the mental health side. Mindfulness is one of my best ways of going for stress relief. And I do message that a lot within my services, but everybody can do so many different things to help with wellness in the workplace and helping with mental health. A lot of stuff I've seen throughout my time in corporate is healthy lunches and snacks, having nutrition and wellness coaching, having everybody go out and volunteer. Standing desks are happening. A lot of fitness activities, maybe your company, if people are back in the office, doing on-site gyms or paid memberships. There's so many different ways of adding wellness into your firm to help with combating stress and health issues that are occurring throughout our population. Matt, do you have anything to add on wellness offerings that you've seen?
Sure. I mentioned the financial wellness. I'll bring that back up, because if you have any type of relationship with a bank, which everyone on here probably does, most of the major banks have financial wellness or personal finance experts that go around and chat. And I think it's great to engage them as a partner and most likely a free resource on that aspect of the wellness wheel. Some things that we've done at organizations I've worked in at Enterprise Florida with our health insurance company, you can get I think up to $3 a day is what it is for taking a certain number of steps and going on a walk, and you can use that toward buying an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, or it can go into a health savings account or reimburse you for medical expenses. We've seen that encourage employees to get up and go. But to take it to the next level, we've also seen that employees want to be engaged, and it's a possible, I guess you call it teamwork or activity or challenge that helps motivate them to do better and to get out there and to get moving. And so at a company I worked for, we used an app called the Carrot app, and employees would download it if they wanted to participate. They were assigned teams. Sometimes it was just a partner. Sometimes it was a handful of people. And everyone on that team had to take a certain number of steps or accomplish whatever the task was during the challenge period, which is usually a week to 10 days. And then winning teams, no matter how many teams won, they were provided a gift card or some sort of reward for being the winners. And then we found that those that didn't win, they, in good taste, they would work with each other in future competitions to hold each other accountable and have some fun with it. And then we've also, at the college I worked for in Louisiana, did something called Who's Walking Wednesdays, and we would just walk around the campus. And it was a group that would get together and we would talk about things going on in our lives, things going on with work. We tried to avoid a little bit of the work conversation just to give everyone a break. And it was a 30-minute walk around the campus, and it grew. I think it started with about 10 people, and eventually there was 70 something people going for a walk.
Yeah, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, if you start activities like that, bring people together, you're going to get great results. And that's amazing, having that many people contribute and be part of such an initiative like that. It's going to help their wellness. Yeah, wellness is definitely one of the things you're going to hear the most about out there in, articles and different things along those lines. And I think, that's probably one of the areas. I think somebody was asking, one of the questions that came in earlier to Lindsay, like, what's the one benefit or the one activity or area of retention that most employees want? I think wellness is coming to the top in the forefront. Karen, didn't you say that they said that in the conference yesterday you were at?
They said you can't say the word health without mental health.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So
But
a lot of
I love Matt's wheel, wellness wheel.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So everybody, it's customizable. All of them are important in different ways to different individuals. But this seems like the hot topic right now of really having some wellness offerings to offer your employees. And then one thing that we did discuss in different ways is really allowing our employees to grow, giving trainings for their current job and for their future jobs, making sure that we're giving them the opportunity to learn and step outside their comfort zone. And it doesn't always have to be trainings and certifications, but a lot of that is really great to, enhance. But it could be having them sit in meetings. It could have them shadow somebody's job. It doesn't always have to be something that has a high ticket item. The small things really matter as for growth as well too. Giving them an opportunity to do something that they have interest in. We really need to make sure that we have a training and development plan for all of our individuals to have them grow and really be able to be ready to be at the next level and grow with the firm. If we don't really invest in them, they're going to go somewhere else to get that investment. Training is a key component. And I know one training is not enough. It has to be something that is integrated and keep adding that training and that component throughout the year. Because it'll be lost. So really having a training plan for your whole company, for different departments, for individuals, all of that will add to your retention and get people to feel that you're investing in their future. And this is such an important one, communication. We talked about exit interviews. We talked a little bit about stay interviews, talking to the people that are here right now and how we can get them to stay longer. But we really need to listen to our employees, get feedback, do these surveys if you think they would work for you, or even just having one-on-one conversation and getting that data together and leveraging that feedback from top to bottom, everybody at the firm, not just the executive team and the leaders, also the staff, the junior level, hearing them and see what they need. We want them to stay with us and become our leaders. So we need to make sure we hear from everyone. So communication is just a big thing, and communicating to the whole audience. You want them to know what's going on with your firm. You want them to know that you're listening to them. And I think we talked about that as well too. And we're addressing and taking action. And that goes into effective change management that I know Matt has some comments on. We've been through a lot of change, and we have to make sure we do it in a quality way. Matt, do you want to talk about some change management ways that you've been really exhibiting at your firm?
Yeah, absolutely. In our work, connecting with businesses and really trying to impact the quality of life in Florida through economic development and providing jobs and increasing opportunities that Floridians have, we're constantly having to change because the needs of businesses change. And so as an organization, we have to adapt. And as we all know, anytime you go through changes, whether they're small or large, it can be a challenge for employees. And so one of the things that we've been intentional about doing is with our leadership team, really coaching them and working on the soft skill of empathy and understanding that as we go through change, it's going to be difficult for some employees. And when it's difficult for them, the changes that you're trying to implement are either not going to reach their full potential or you're going to go slower than you need to. And so understanding that employee buy-in, empathy, that it can be difficult, soliciting feedback from others really goes a long way. One of the things I learned quickly as I stepped into different leadership roles is that I have to recognize that I don't know everything and that there are a lot of people on the front lines that any type of decision that's made can impact them in a way that I might not have anticipated. And so ultimately, I found that the leadership team has to drive the change and be the champions of change, but you can't do that without understanding what's happening, where the pain points are, how we can fix whatever needs to be fixed or pivot. And that's going to come from your frontline employees. And if you have a larger organization, some of your middle management, and understanding that even though you might want to move fast, taking the time to solicit the feedback and adapt your plans based off of feedback where appropriate, it's worth the time doing that because in the long run, you'll still go faster than if you were trying to implement change without that buy-in and the information. So communication, we mentioned that that's been key to change management, that as ideas and proposals are going forward, we do everything we can to make sure the organization knows where we're going. We also make sure that they understand that our leadership team has an open door policy, that they can come talk to us. I have numerous examples of times where we've been moving through some sort of project or change related initiative. Someone came and talked to me during the process, provided feedback, and it changed the change, and it was feedback that hadn't been heard yet, but it was very important to the process. So that's probably the biggest takeaway, and we have to have a team that is open to change, and to do that, the leadership team and those supervising the team members just have to communicate well, be empathetic, solicit their feedback, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen, and it's difficult, but you can work through it if you're actually connecting with the people that are going to be most impacted by what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have a great plan in place to make sure it's going smoothly on these big changes that we're all dealing with, or as best as you can. And a lot of these are about communication, a lot of these different areas. And the next one as well, too, giving continuous feedback. A lot of companies are going away from that yearly evaluation to giving it in the moment, or doing it more often, and maybe monthly or quarterly, giving that feedback so they can grow and get to the next level. So we need to have that communication at all levels across the organization and for that individual, so they can really grow and be the best they can for the company.
Melissa, this is your 5-minute warning. Just giving you the heads up.
Perfect. We're getting close. I only have a few more, and so we'll have time. And then, there's all different other job perks that you're giving to your employees. Are they really, something they want? Maybe listen to them and do something different. Go outside the box. This is where you can do that and make yourself, stand out. So try to think about things that your employees want and what you can execute and do. And then, we have to talk about compensation and benefits. That's something that everybody looks at. And I think the statistics are pretty high that 65% people do leave because of this. But, you have to look at your competitors. You have to see if you can add anything in your benefits. And if you are taking some benefits away because of cost savings, see what else that you can add for a lower cost that will make them feel a little bit whole with what you're doing. But definitely it's something you have to pay attention to and see what's out there, because people will leave for that bigger, pay bump, unfortunately. And the last two are my favorite, and they kind of go hand in hand, is really recognizing and rewarding our people. We need to do this more than we ever did before. And even small thank yous go such a long way, but if there's any way that you can put a program in place to reward your people for what the great stuff they're doing for the firm, I think it goes a long way. It doesn't have to be big prizes. It could be, an experience with the firm, but it could be just a big thank you in front of the whole firm. We really need to recognize and reward our employees and celebrate every milestone that happens, individually or as a team, and show that the work that they're doing is really appreciated now more than ever. So these are some of the areas that I think we can concentrate on, or you might see that are important to you to really help your people, want to stay at your firm. And then, I wanted to end with this, and I'll get comments from Matt and Karen before we leave, but we really, what I see now is KPIs is all around employee engagement, keeping our people interested, keeping them informed, keeping them involved and inspired. And a lot of the things we talk about today will do that. So Karen, and do you have any parting things you want to add before we leave today?
Parting words. Thank you everyone for taking time. Your time is just as valuable as ours. And I thank you for being here. And thank you for all the positive feedback. Please feel free to reach out to, you can see my website at hrbykaren.com for all my contact information. Happy to address any HR issues off here as well.
Absolutely. And Matt, anything you would like to add?
Thank Karen and you, Melissa, for this great discussion and panel. This is my first time actually interacting with both of you, and incredible bank of knowledge that you have, and also the feedback from the group coming through the chat has been awesome. I'm humbled to be here and to learn and hopefully to have imparted a few things, and my contact information believe will go out, right, Lindsay, to the group. So please feel free to reach out if I can help. And this is coming from a guy that oversees finance, which is usually where some of these ideas go to die. And I recognize that. But, investing in employees is so important. And there's so many studies and research out there that shows that when employees leave, it slows you down. It slows down your progress, your growth. There's an opportunity cost there, not just the cost of replacing an employee, but what are you missing because you're not moving forward, and you've reduced your capacity by losing people and talent. So an incredible and worthwhile investment, and I look forward to more conversations to come.
Perfect. Now, Lindsay, it looks like we had a lot of chats going on. Is there anything we should highlight or anything from that, or anything else that you would like to do before we close up?
No, it looks like everybody enjoyed it. There were some great ideas in there too. I've recorded everything. So after this call, probably next week, I will put the recording together, put a little brief overview, and send it out to everyone that was in attendance. Also, it'll have each of the 3 panelists' contact info in case you want to get in touch with them and continue any additional conversations.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. It's always great to talk about this topic because I think can be transformative to an organization and to your recruiting and your employees' experience. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lindsay. Have a great rest of your day.
Everyone.
Thank you. Bye.